Hello, everybody. Welcome to the ÉISG podcast, an intern survival guide, where we teach you how to survive in Paris and during an internship at an indie festival. We have new hosts every week with different topics each time, ranging from music, fashion, tourism, but above all, independent cinema. We hope you like today's episode. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next edition of ÉISG's Intern Survival Guide. Warning: this podcast occasionally contains strong language which may be unsuitable for children, unusual humor which may be unsuitable for adults, and lots of LGBTQ+ jokes which may be unsuitable for assholes.
Hello Nele, hello everybody. We're here for ÉISG Friday Live Internal Survival Guide, and today's topic is working life balance. So yeah, we were talking in the office with all the other interns about it. There are controversial opinions about working life balance.
Yeah. Because for example, for me, it's kind of a little sad because we're here for the internship and it's really fun and everything, but still we're sitting in this office like until it's dark.
And you don't like the couch?
Paris on the weekend or in the evening, except when I'm going out and like filming TikToks and stuff, which is also very fun, but then it's also thinking about work and not just experiencing Paris in its magic or something, but just thinking about what should I do and when do I get back.
Yeah,
so
right.
For me, that's kind of like the thing, especially now in this situation about the work-life balance.
But we might say that your job is not that bad if you can go doing TikToks and going out and discovering Paris in a way which is not the touristic one, but it's the working one.
Yeah.
But still, maybe it really depends on the job that you are taking. No, like in a corporate, you would be like 9 to 5 in the office, and in the movie industry, maybe it's a little bit different. Since it's a creative field.
Yeah, but also then on the remote days, it's always kind of like just also sitting in my room on my laptop the whole time, and I'm also always thinking when you're at home you can like do stuff parallel, like wash laundry or like do the chores you have not done the whole week, but I never manage any of this.
Okay, so maybe you might have a problem with managing time, not doing you can just do your laundry and in the meanwhile typing on your laptop or editing some videos. But I think that nowadays it's kind of necessary to have some remote days to have like a healthy working balance. As you were saying, even remotely you're working and you feel like you cannot do anything else, but it's a different way of working. Like it's not that heavy as being in the office, and also time consuming. You don't have to take any transportation to get to the job, so maybe you have more free time than when you finish your working time.
But it's also kind of difficult because when you're remote, you always like think about it at your home, because then it's not associated like this is work and this is home, but the work is also at home. And sometimes you can just like open your laptop and edit this last thing or do this one, or stay a little longer because you don't have to take the metro and be there at a certain time. So yeah,
but
it's
then maybe
definitely different, but it's still.
Then maybe it depends more about your personal time management.
Yeah, I guess.
At some point, and of course, as we were saying, it really depends on the your mindset. I might say, that's true that if you love what you do, then you shouldn't feel the tiring part of it. But still, as you were saying, it's also necessary to have separate working time and your personal time, so you can dedicate yourself to the family, friends, or whatever.
Yeah, but I also have from some people who do their dream or the hobby as a job, that it was draining them because they were like there came additional stress and additional like deadlines, and you had to do this, and it's not just the fun way it was before, like you were, I don't know, taking photos for fun before, or like movies, and now you have to do it by this time and in this way because you're paid to do it this way. And I think that can be also kind of draining, that you just have work and not your hobby anymore, because your hobby is your work. But on the other hand, from some of the people in the office, we heard that this makes every day fun because all your work is fun and you're doing what you love the whole time. So
yeah, but then if you relate this to money, like to surviving, I understand what you mean. Like if it at some point your hobby it's something like you need to survive and you don't get enough money for it, then you start maybe hating it, because how can you pay your lunch, your rent, and okay, you're doing something that you like, but if it's not enough, then it just change the meaning. Yeah, no, that's not nice. So maybe we should all move to northern countries when they have these like 4 working days per week.
yeah, I think this would be like the dream. Because yeah, I think people really don't work that much, because I think they had the stories, like the studies, I mean, where they like divided one workplace, and one part had the 4-day working week and one the 5, and I think the ones with the 4-week were as productive, if not more, because there's always, I mean, everyone knows this, that you have times where you're just like trying to look busy, or looking like you have to work because you just have to sit here for another like 8 hours or something. And if you don't have this, maybe people are more focused to really do the job in the time. And then, yeah, it's like so many meetings and like time where you just try to look busy can be cut out, and then you can only.
So
have
you're
4
saying
working
that
days.
basically most of us are just faking at work.
No, that's not. But yeah, maybe.
No, but I mean,
There's
for some
always
people,
slower days, and we don't have to do so much. So it would be good if it was more flexible, that you can like stop working when you're saying, okay, this day I really don't have anything to do, and then maybe you work longer on another day, or.
But I guess the problem of like I totally agree with your concept of like flexibility and like self time management with job, but not all the people I think might be trusted. Like there are some people that would just take advantage of like having this flexibility and wouldn't do anything, wouldn't work, and this is a problem. A problem that affected the most the people that actually would be able to use their time, and like, because sometimes you're a worker and you're faster than another one doing some stuff, and then for the day you've already done everything, and you maybe want to just not sitting somewhere, try to look busy. So no, it's true. Do you think there's a way to fix this problem, like find a solution for?
Know. It's really difficult, because like everyone, like for every good thing, there's people who are gonna take advantage of it. Because
so the world is just a sad place.
I'm always hoping that people would be like honest and do it, but I know there are people who will not do it. But on the other hand, I don't know if that's like the reason to deny everyone else who's like really good at what they do and want to do it, and so I don't think that's a good solution, but
okay,
maybe over time.
I see. Later we're going to have our guest from Philippines, and what do you think she will say about like do you think she will have like the same way we think about working time?
So I don't really know, because like she's a filmmaker, and I think that's also something you do when you love your job, so I think it's the one we talked about before, But I think it really much depends on like I think she was a student while she was filming the movie,
Yeah.
so she also had other stuff to do, and I think it must be very stressful for her. It also depends like what kind of projects you do. Like if you are the one doing everything, like in an independent film, it's always the problem that it's always the director like doing costumes and locations
doing everything,
and doing
multitasking.
everything because they don't have any don't have enough money or people. But if you're like paid to do something, maybe it's different. Like then you're just doing your thing, like writing a script or just directing, like coming to the set and be like, okay, you have to do this. Like I know it's not like this, but
Maybe
I think
one.
it depends. What do you think?
Yeah, of course it depends. It's just depends on the people. It depends on the job. It depends on the production. Yeah, as we were saying, maybe like someone that wants to work in the movie industry should anyway start from like the independent industry, yeah, because then you would learn everything from that, and you can do it in your youth, and then when you're growing up, then you decide like, okay, I might need a more stable life with a good salary and with 3 days, and not just like working every day, every time of the day. I mean, it's something that you need to do, also to learn, but I don't think is sustainable for a long term.
Yeah, that's also what I was thinking. Like maybe work-life balance isn't so good if you are just starting out and trying to learn everything. You should always say yes if there's like an after work. For example, yesterday was like at the Lost in Translation screening, and it was like after work, but I obviously wanted to do it and like cover it. So you should always say yes to stuff like this, or if there's a shooting or whatever.
Yeah. Did you like it? The Lost in Translation?
Yeah, it was really nice. And it's like such a cool opportunity that we're here and can do stuff like this, and also when there's a festival we can see everything.
So anyway,
I
we're
think
happy.
we think we should. You should always say yes and not just look to your work-life balance, but you also can't like lose yourself and your mental health and stuff when it's too stressful.
Destroy it. At some point, we will separate all of like working time and personal time. But for now, as interns in Paris, we should always say yes to everything, even to drugs. Yes. Not to drugs. No. Yeah. Okay. So, well, let's welcome our guest.
Yeah, I guess.
So, thank you, Stephanie. We're happy to welcome you at the ÉISG Internal Survival Guide podcast, and thank you for accepting to be our guest today.
Thank you.
So, for today's topic, we want to talk about working-life balance, and we decided to ask you to join our podcast because you are one of the official selection in the AAIFF festival and for the student corner. So you've been a student and a director of your movie, and which is not something really easy to do and to manage. Do you want first to talk to us about your movie a little bit?
And maybe introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, sure. I'm Stephanie, and I'm the director of Kahilwasan, which was actually my thesis film for film school here in Cebu. I went to the International Academy of Film and Television here in Cebu, Philippines. And for my final project, we had to do a thesis, just like any other course, I guess. And that was my film, basically. It was inspired by a story that my mother told me about her mother, my grandmother, who had been traumatized from the events of World War II, especially here in the Philippines when she was living in their village, which is a mountain town. And they weren't really used to seeing airplanes and things like that, helicopters, airplanes, unless it was for like war purposes. And so during the 70s, while my mom was growing up under the dictatorship of Ferdinand Marcos, there were a lot of raids happening, especially to find rebel groups and things like that. So there were a lot of planes and helicopters flying around. And my grandmother, who had been traumatized from seeing all the warplanes in World War II, she thought that there was going to be another war happening and basically took my mom and her 12 siblings to hide in a cave in the mountains. That story got me thinking about how trauma is something that like gets passed down to younger generations, and it's just a cycle of violence in every generation that we can never really escape. Like with my grandmother's generation, it was World War II, and then with my mother's generation, it was the dictatorship. Then we're all going through our own kind of traumatic events in every single generation, basically. Yeah.
Wow, that's really powerful and interesting message, and also that your family really experienced this.
So now, are you still a movie director? You want this to be your career, and you want to talk about this topic too, or are you changing subject?
Actually, that was one of the first and probably the last film that I directed myself.
Okay.
Ever since, because after film school, I focused on producing and helping other people put their stories out, which I found a lot of fulfillment in. Also because directing your own film means spending your own money unless you're hired by people. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge. So I've mostly been producing for other people, and which I still really enjoy, but hopefully if I can like put some more scripts together and put money together, I can direct someday again.
So, how do you know if in this sense you manage to have a work-life balance or not, since we are talking also about money and how to manage them, and even for a job that you really like to do, but it's kind of hard to make it possible. So,
and you're also thinking about it in your free time and how to get more money or how to do everything. So can you really slow down your mind, or is it just always thinking about it and always kind of work?
It's definitely not easy. Luckily, the jobs that I've had have been for specific clients who are paying us to do these projects, and it's not like independent really. It's not like a group of us filmmakers just coming together. It's for I've been making like music videos and things like that. So I've been able to make money from that, although I have had a few passion projects where we as friends come together and like help each other produce scripts and things like that. But it is hard to get the funds together. And I do have a lot of friends who have had to um basically find corporate jobs just to support their passion of filmmaking. And it's definitely not an easy field at all. Filmmaking is not you don't join filmmaking to get money, I guess. I honestly can't say that you're gonna make money in this field unless you go to, the big studios and stuff. But there is a lot of like fulfillment in it. And my friends who are now working corporate jobs really miss the filmmaking life, and being on set and being with people who are really passionate about this line of work. And I think that's what drives us and like makes us want to continue making films and doing all these projects, because it's just a different energy, even if you have to sacrifice the money you would get in another job or another field. It's just it fuels your soul rather than fuels your wallet, I guess. So it's really just up to you which one you prioritize. Not that I'm saying no one can make money from it. Of course you can. And but yeah, I'm just saying money is not always the most important thing in life.
But I often feel like it's a little difficult if you're really passionate for what you do, because then it can be hard to just say no, it's enough, I'm gonna stop now for the weekend or something, instead of just working more and more hours because you really love what you do. So how would you handle this?
It's really setting boundaries, especially when you're working with, or if you're working for clients and things, you really have to agree on a contract and kind of tell them if you're working for clients and things like that, you should definitely let them know ahead of time, like how many edits you're willing to do for them, or they can't push you too hard to where it's not fair for you anymore.
So if you wouldn't be inside the filmmaking industry, or hopefully, I mean, what would it be your other job? And how the working hour could it be like? Do you agree with the like 4 days schedule, weekly schedule, or it should be like full time? And yeah, what do you think about it?
For me personally, I really can't commit to corporate jobs. And luckily, I don't really have to, because we do have our own, me and my mother run a business, a small business. So luckily we're able to, sustain ourselves with that. But I really personally I can't see myself at a desk job, because I feel like it's very soul crushing at the end of the day, especially when you have all these ideas for projects and films and scripts. You don't want to lose that energy and passion. And I think corporate jobs just really take the fun out of life. But unfortunately, it's necessary to take those kinds of jobs. And some people really excel in those areas, but me, it's a no. It's a no for me.
Yeah, I get that. Because it feels like now with all the computers and AI and stuff, it should be easier and people shouldn't work so hard, because I think it should be the goal to like live comfortably without like slaving your whole life away. And yeah, it's the difference is happening. Like everyone has to work longer and harder, even though we have like computers and automated stuff.
Exactly.
And would you have any advice for a young filmmaker that wants to start his life?
My advice would be to network and create a very solid group of people that you trust and are able to work with well. Because even if you get like difficult projects, or you're having trouble, you can all help each other, because filmmaking is a collaborative field of work, and you're nothing without your team or your crew. So it is really important that you're able to have people you can rely on and trust. And ever since I graduated out of film school, I still work with the same people that I went to school with. So it's just great to have like a family basically in your field of work that you can always count on.
Yeah. And like as a filmmaker, obviously it's like part of the job, but many people who are also working like corporate jobs or stuff on their computer start to work the digital nomad life, like they are going somewhere in another country. Do you think that's also a sign of our times, like that people don't want to really work so much anymore? And do you like it that it's part of the filmmaker's job anyway to be at different places and experience different stuff?
Yeah, I think this whole movement of this digital nomad wave is really good actually for our society, because it's giving young people especially an opportunity to see the world while continuing to do something that is to sustain them, and while enjoying life as well. Because we're here for a short time, make it count. So yeah, I definitely love this digital nomad era that's happening. And it's a great thing for people in our field as well.
Well, I think you were like really clear in answering to our questions, and yeah, do we have some other curiosity?
So how is the working culture in your country? Like, are people, because I come from Germany, and many people are always like starting to work at 6 o'clock and working so much and so hard, and it's always like my job and my car and stuff. So how is the working culture? Because here in France it's like so different that people are always just starting at like 9 or 10 and be like in the evening they go out and stuff, and it's such a different idea, and I was wondering how it was over with you.
Here in the Philippines, yes, I would say there's a lot of 9 to 5 jobs, especially with call center agents and things like that. Our biggest our biggest field of work here right now, or our most popular, is call center agents, which are people who like answer phone support and things like that. So because of that boom, there's just a lot of young people going to the office, not even 9 to 5, sometimes it's graveyard shift. A lot of people are working, to match with like European or US time zones. So it's funny because if you're working a graveyard shift, you're obviously in a different let's say most people are working 9 to 5 during the day, and then these graveyard shift workers are working like 11 to 6 a.m. or things like that.
No.
So yeah, it's nice to see like the city is always alive because of these people who are just awake and getting coffee at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, but then at some point it just it's not like you cannot really live in your country, like you are living the time of another country in another time zone, so maybe this isn't really fair, like
No,
you just miss like your culture, your people.
Yeah, and meeting up with friends and stuff must be so difficult if they are just going to bed and the other person just woke up.
Yes, it does make life difficult for them. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least it's then everything is open late, right, and over the night, and supermarkets, because here after COVID everything closes at like 8, like even the supermarkets and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people sleep very well here. My input.
Okay, so
yeah, but I think also the pandemic changed so much in working, because yeah, you can do something like this.
Yeah.
You can do stuff like talk to someone from the Philippines, and because Zoom was not so great before this, and also keep in contact with friends easier. But on the other hand, it's also that if you work from home, I think it's really difficult to like shut it down and don't think about work anymore. So yeah, I don't know, it's like two stuff in one.
Working sucks basically in any situation.
and we all agree about that.
Says the one who is here in Paris for an internship, which is basically work.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. It was really a pleasure to have you as our guest. And we are hosting our festival, Independent Movie Festival, in Paris on the date 14, 15 and 16 of April. So if you want to share the appointment, we will be happy, since I mean you are an independent filmmaker too, so maybe it could be interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, and thank you for talking with us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
Do you have anything more to say, or like anything about work-life balance we didn't talk about that's like very personal to your heart or something?
I think I said all that I can say. I hope I answered the questions okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I was very scatterbrained, but
No, you were very clear. Totally.
Nice, yeah.
Thank you. And have a good day.
thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good
Bye.
day. Bye.